previous car, an older Corolla, was in an accident, and so unfortunately I had to get a new car, and I had a rental for a while, so I had time to think about it. And so I actually went online. Some new people I knew had gone through Carvana, and so I went online and looked around for a while and saw that for less than about $12,000 I could get something used that was all electric. And so I did know that I wanted to try out the technology. I was thinking about hybrids, but I thought, you know what, this is the time I can really make this transition. So I was looking at this, the e-Golf, and also a Fiat 500 all electric is about $10,000. And so I saw it was available online, and then I just started looking around the local dealerships, and even out to Rochester and Syracuse. And I did find this one at McGuire. It took a little while to go through the purchasing process and a little trying because they don't know much about these vehicles. But I was able to get it for the price that I wanted to. So it was successful in that way. Yeah, I feel like I educated myself mostly on the vehicle and knew what the range was and how to plug it in and what the options were. I don't feel like the dealership was overly helpful with that. There's also a used vehicle, so they don't see these very often. It's a 2016, and so this is the first one they had even had on their lot, I think. So they're not overly familiar with it, but I was able to. It was more about getting the price that I wanted. It was kind of more the negotiation than the vehicle technology. And not too much. I do drive with less heat on, as we can demonstrate later. And it just makes me think about, I can't go to Syracuse even in it because it doesn't have enough range to maybe get up there and back again. But I haven't, so far I've only had it for a little over a month, maybe 2 months, and it hasn't impacted that, just my normal commuting style. Some days I don't drive at all, and my partner lives out in Dryden, and so if I'm out there, that's about 30 miles round trip, and this definitely uses more than 30 miles round trip of the range that's available. So it's been interesting to kind of watch, how I drive and how much range it uses up as we go. It's so right now it says 88. I think it was maybe 92 when I first unplugged, and I've only driven about 2 miles, but that's just having the heat on. And but it depends on what mode it's in. So there are a couple different driving modes. So if I go to the Eco Plus, that just came back off again, but that goes up to 90. But if we just go normal, it'll drop down to 87. So there's a couple different things you can do there to adjust that. And the heat doesn't work as well when it's in the eco mode. So if you really wanted to get warmed up, you put it in normal, but then we can look through how that range changes anyway. I was able to use one of the 2 chargers that came with the car and keep it kind of installed, but it's inside in a basement, and then I just have a cord that comes out, and so it's easy. I pull into the driveway and plug it in. But I have also now learned about how the Cuga Street parking garage has free parking on the weekends, and then it's free charging. So I went last Saturday. It's only a couple minutes from my house, and so I plugged it in, and 3 hours later picked it back up. So it was really nice to get a free charge, and in 3 hours it was all I really needed for the next couple of days. Yeah, it's a 3-prong plug. I talked to an electrician before I even bought the car. A neighbor who happens to be an electrician, and I said, so what do I need to do? And he just said, don't run everything you have at once. Don't run your dryer and your charging your car and your dehumidifier. So I have been a little conscious of, if I know I'm gonna do laundry and need to use the dryer, then I'll turn that off, or I'll unplug the car, do that, and plug the car in later, just to not short circuit anything. But that's an older house, and there's not a lot of room in my electrical panel. I just read my meter the other day, and it seems like it's maybe about 100 to 150 kilowatt hours more in a month, which kind of makes sense that I think this is like 4 miles per kilowatt. I need to start doing the math. I mean, that's kind of the fun thing about these cars, is you can get kind of into the data and gather information about your driving and how you are using it. And then it makes you think about like, oh, do I use the heat where I know that'll cost me this amount in terms of both range, and then when I plug it in, that it would use up more electricity. Yeah, I think a future car I would want more range, just because I laugh about I have an Easy Pass. I'm like, I don't know that I'll ever need the Easy Pass in this car because I don't know if I could ever get to the highway and go anywhere. But yeah, so I think more range is fine, but I think a daily commuter, we have another car, so this isn't, it's not necessary to do that. And I think about like, oh, if I go visit family or friends and my partner's not with me, well then I just rent a car, right? Like it didn't feel worth the extra cost of a newer car or more range for the couple times a year that I might need to rent a car, and that seems totally fine for me, for my usage. No, I love how this is just a really zippy car to drive around, and more than enough space for what I need, and I really like the hatchback, and I like that it looks like a normal car. I mean, not that I have no problems with the bolts and the leaves and everything else, but this, you can't tell the difference between this and a regular Golf that I see around town, other than there's like blue highlights on it and outside too, and there's no tailpipe, so that's the other big difference. I would definitely look around at used. I think a lot are going to start coming off of leases. I don't know where this one came from in particular, but just looking around, they're coming out of California where they have a lot more EVs. And I mean, this only had 20,000 miles on it for a 3-year-old car. And so there's a lot of Leafs available, a lot of probably Volts now too, and that little Chevy Spark, and the Fiats that I saw for under probably $15,000. And I think it's a great first step into the all-electric world. If it's a second car or kind of a backup that you might end up using more than you think you would, but you're not gonna drive to Boston in it.